About your car passing the yearly emissions inspection, then stay tuned, because today I'm going to show you how to prepare your car to pass the emissions inspection. Now, many places require that every year you have your car inspected to get this inspection sticker. Now, part of the test is a safety test. Check things like tires to make sure they're not bald and brakes work okay, and to make sure that your headlights work. Now, all that stuff's pretty cut and dry. Anybody can check it. But when it comes to emissions inspection, since your nose can't really tell what's coming out of the tailpipe, there's a few preventative measures you can do to make sure it passes the emissions testing. Now, in an older car like this 93 Celica, they actually measure the gas that comes out of the tailpipe with a dynamometer test. So you want to make sure everything is working fine, so the gases that come out of the pipe are very low and aren't polluting much. So first, make sure that the oil is clean. Change the oil and filter before your inspection. Because if the oil gets dirty, the PCV system can suck a lot of those dirty vapors in, burn them, and pollute more. Of course, you want to have clean oil anyway, but right before the inspection is the best time to have the cleanest oil. And the next thing to do is to make sure the air filter's clean. Because if you have a dirty air filter, it'll block the air, the car will run lean, and it'll pollute too much. A lean running car makes the engine run hotter, the exhaust gas get hotter, puts out more NOx, which is a pollutant they measure, and you can fail the test. And of course, check your spark plugs to make sure they're in good shape. Spark plugs have a gap where the electricity fires, and in this old worn out one, the gap is too big and they don't work right. And even if a car is running okay, if the gap is too big, it'll pollute more and you'll fail the test. And of course, check the cooling system. Because if the coolant is low, the top of the engine will get air in it, make it run hotter, and it'll pollute more. And here again, realize that the engine doesn't have to be overheating on the gauge to make part of the engine still running too hot. So make sure it's full of coolant and that it's clean. And of course, make sure that the cooling fans are working correctly. Turn on the AC at the fan and make sure that it's spinning like this fan is spinning. Because the test takes place on a dynamometer, the car isn't moving. If those cooling fans aren't sucking air, the engine will run hotter and it can fail the test. Now, if you have a more modern car like this 3-year-old Mini, they don't test them on a dyno, they just plug into the computer to see if there's a problem. All cars from 1996 on are tested this way. So if you have a 1996 or newer car and a check engine light is on, you need to fix it before you go to get it inspected. Because that means there's a trouble code stored in the computer, and when they inspect it, their computer will fail it for the test. And there's over 2,000 separate trouble codes that can exist in a car, so it can get really complicated when that light comes on. But let's say you're unlucky and you've already done everything I've shown in this video, and your car still fails the emissions test. Well, you can try fuel injection cleaner poured into the gas tank and drive the car really hard on the highway about 70 or 100 miles. Personally, I've had very good luck using the shop line solvent. I just pour a gallon of the solvent to about half a tank of gasoline. Then I go on the highway and drive the car at the maximum speed limit for about half an hour or 45 minutes. I've done this on hundreds of cars and got them to pass the emissions test after doing this. Of course, this is not a magic fix. If the car doesn't run good, it's got a serious problem that needs to be fixed. But if the car runs okay, this can often let it pass the test. Because the solvent burns really clean. So the gas coming out of the exhaust can get cleaner and cleaner as it cleans all the systems out. And if you have a late model code with a check engine light and it says inefficient catalytic converter, try this first, because it will often clean them up so they'll pass the test. So now you can stop worrying about your car passing the emissions test and do something about it. And remember, if your car has any problems, just visit the Scotty Kilmer channel. Before it's too late.